Sophie Cunningham's injury scared everybody half to death.
So Sophie Cunningham went down with what did not look like the greatest injury.
Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White just threw a serious curveball about Sophie Cunningham's injury. And no, this isn't your typical she's progressing well update. There's more to this story, layers, tension, and a few plot twists no one had on their preseason bingo card. If you thought Sophie would be back on the floor with a little tape and a pep talk, think again.
Went down, rolled her ankle after landing on Ryan Howard's leg, which is not an ideal situation, not an ideal thing at all coming into the season.
Let's set the record straight. Sophie Cunningham isn't Indiana's top scorer or flashiest playmaker. But what she is can't be replaced. She's the fire starter, the enforcer, the one who sets the physical tone from the jump. Opponents don't get to feel comfortable when Sophie's on the floor. So when Coach Christy Sides gave an update on Sophie's recovery, it wasn't just about health, it was about culture. Losing Sophie, even for a little while, isn't just missing a few points. It's missing grit. It's missing leadership. It's losing the emotional thermostat of this team. If you're hyped to see Sophie and the Fever back in action, drop a spicy Sophie in the comments. Let's go.
Let's talk to this game. Number one, the starters for Indiana were okay, right? We ended up seeing it change in the starting lineup. We saw Sophie Cunningham get the starting nod. However, Sophie Cunningham had to go out of the game. I forgot what half that was, if that was in the first half or the second half. But Sophie Cunningham was coming down. She was in the air, coming down. She ended up rolling her ankle on Ryan Howard's foot. She went out of the game, was on the bench for a little while, and I believe she went to the locker room, but she did not return.
The update wasn't all doom and gloom, but it peeled back the curtain on just how essential Sophie Cunningham is to Indiana's ecosystem. She's not the headline grabber. Caitlin Clark owns that spotlight. But Sophie's the one doing the gritty, thankless work that lets everyone else shine. Cunningham isn't chasing glory. She's diving for loose balls, rotating on defense like the season's on the line, and daring anyone to mess with her teammates. Her impact won't fill a highlight reel, but every coach and every player knows you don't win championships without a Sophie.
Sophie Cunningham got injured. Okay, she got injured. She landed on her ankle the wrong way. Let's go ahead and look through the play right now. All right. So here she is here, coming for the rebound, boom, and lands on Ryan Howard's foot the wrong way, and she was holding him.
When the injury first happened, there was a flicker of denial within the team. Maybe it's just a knock, some thought. She'll walk it off, because that's what Sophie does. She takes the hits, brushes off the pain, and keeps charging. But this time felt different. The pain didn't fade. The scans came back, and reality hit. Indiana would have to face life, even briefly. Without their enforcer. It's like pulling the guardrails off a roller coaster. It might still run, but suddenly everything feels a whole lot less secure.
That moment, everybody was scared in the live stream, man. I was holding my breath. My face was fixed a certain way that looked crazy. I mean, we were scared in there, okay? Now, the main thing is, yes, she twisted her ankle, okay? And she was out for the rest of the game.
Coach Christy Sides didn't mince words. She made it clear. Sophie Cunningham's absence doesn't just leave a gap in the box score. It leaves a hole in the team's backbone. It's not about points per game. It's about the muscle and mental toughness that flips close games into wins. Sophie's the one barking out defensive switches, getting under opponents' skin, and celebrating a drawn charge like it's a poster dunk. She brings the edge, the fight, the attitude. And without her, Indiana's going to have to dig deep, because someone else will need to step up and bring the grit she delivers every single night.
Just giving a different kind of look and seeing what we might be able to do from that standpoint with Sophie's energy in the starting lineup and with DB's production coming off the bench. So, we'll probably continue throughout the course of the week tinkering a little bit. But preseason gives us a good opportunity to see what we like, because it's important to have a good starting group and it's important to have energy and production off the bench.
She may be coming off the bench for now, but don't get it twisted. Sophie's not sulking on the sidelines. She's scheming. Rehab isn't just a recovery plan for her. It's a mission. A checklist. You really thought I was done? Kind of moment in the making. If you followed her career, Sophie doesn't sit still. She's probably counting down the minutes until she can throw her body into the paint again. This isn't a setback. It's just a delay. And when she returns, she's bringing all that bottled up frustration with her. weaponized into the kind of basketball that leaves bruises and flips games on their heads.
Injury too. Like, is there any update on that?
I don't think so. She was in there getting it in a cold tub, so she keeps saying I'll be fine, so I trust her.
What makes this situation even more compelling is how deeply Sophie Cunningham's absence is being felt. Far beyond the stat sheet, yes, the Fever are loaded with rising stars. But it's Sophie who brings that intangible edge, the one who dives for loose balls like they are diamonds and chirps at opponents just enough to knock them off their rhythm. She's the team's emotional GPS. When the energy dips, she spikes it. When the gym goes quiet, she makes noise. Now, Indiana needs someone to step into that void. And let's be honest, that's no small ask. Watching the Fever without Sophie feels like hearing a band without drums. The melody's still there, but the rhythm? Just a little offbeat. People call her a glue player, but even that undersells it. She's more like the shock absorber, the one who soaks up the contact, the chaos, the pressure, so everyone else can play smooth. Without her, the bumps hit harder. The tension cuts deeper. And suddenly, this team feels just a little more human.
So I hope that Sophie Cunningham is okay. Again, it looks like a rolled ankle, so hopefully it's not too bad. Maybe she's out for a day or so. We'll see. We'll find out an update from the Indiana Fever. But Sophie Cunningham did go out of the game.
So, what does this mean for the immediate future? Coach Christie Sides was measured but candid. There's no panic, but there's definitely urgency. Sophie's recovery timetable remains uncertain. And while optimism is high, reality has set in. The team is rallying. Caitlin Clark continues to dazzle. Kelsey Mitchell is heating up. Aaliyah Boston is proving to be a two-way force. But there's an undeniable awareness. Without Sophie out there mixing it up, Indiana needs more than just lineup adjustments. They need to shift their mindset. The Fever will have to find a new way to bring that grit, that edge, and that toughness she always delivered.
Positive thing. She was like trying to see if she could get back in the game. Obviously, they're not dumb. They're not going to put her back into a preseason game. But she was trying to get back into the game, which is big. If we're honest, that is genuinely big.
The bottom line, Sophie Cunningham's absence may not make the headlines, but her return? That's going to shake the foundation. She's the Fever's spine, the heartbeat that doesn't always get the spotlight until it's missing. While the league continues to chase flash and finesse, Indiana knows the real secret sauce is grit. And nobody brings it like Sophie.so, as she rehabs with the same fire she brings to every possession. Understand this, she's coming back. And when she does, don't expect a slow return. Expect a storm. Sophie Cunningham doesn't ease into anything. She kicks the door down, plants her flag, and makes sure everyone knows that while she may not be the star, she's the one keeping the lights on and the roof from caving in. Until then, the Fever will grind. They'll battle. They'll keep that spot warm for their enforcer-in-chief. Because when Sophie returns, it won't just be a comeback, it'll be the reboot of this team's very soul.
She is okay, all right? It did look like it could have been something worse because of how she landed, and it was like more so of an Achilles looking stretch instead of a twisted sideways foot. So that's what scared me. But nonetheless, man, it came out that it was a twisted ankle and she was okay, and she was just going to sit out for the rest of the game.
Stephanie White, the unshakable tactician at the helm of the Indiana Fever, doesn't do panic. If anything, upon hearing the latest on Sophie Cunningham's status, she probably gave a single nod and calmly returned to scribbling plays on a napkin. Because when it comes to Sophie, White knows this isn't just about losing a scorer. It's about temporarily losing the engine that powers the team at full throttle. This isn't your typical she'll be back soon injury update. Nor is it a season-ending tragedy. It's a layered reality that raises questions, sparks debates, and makes it crystal clear. This team isn't the same without Sophie keeping things in check. Let's be real. Sophie Cunningham isn't the face of the franchise. That's Caitlin Clark. But Sophie, she's the fire behind it. The player who ties it all together. Part enforcer, part Energizer Bunny, part chaos coordinator. Her injury news hit with a thud, not because the team will crumble without her, but because they lose their edge. Sophie doesn't just play. She stabilizes. She's the grit that makes the glamour work. When a game demands attitude, toughness, or someone to get in the mix under the basket, Sophie's the one making the mess. Her absence doesn't signal doom. It signals a shift in the Fever's entire dynamic. Because Cunningham is the type of competitor who doesn't view rehab as a pause. For her, it's just an intermission in her own action movie.
Oh my God. Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an